How are you? Okay, I cannot hear you at all, and it might be me. Hold on. Okay.
I'm great in yourself.
I'm
Can you
good.
hear?
Yeah, look, I done turned
Okay.
the sound all the way down. Who does that? Okay. I'm like, he said he's talking and I can't hear. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. How was your week?
It was pretty good.
Okay. Okay. Love hearing it. I love hearing it. You got a little
How about yours?
bananas. But other than that, it was good. It was a lot going on. Oh my God. And it's still going on. I think hopefully the summer will be a little laid back, a little more calmer. I don't believe it
Hopefully.
will, but it sounds good coming out of my mouth, and it gives me something to look forward to. But I don't believe it'll happen. But it is what it is. Such is
Right.
life. Such is life. But it was good. It was good. Like I said, it was just busy. A lot of stuff going on um, around these parts, so it was all good. Yesterday, I had a ball. Let me just tell you, we had at the senior center, we had a derby party, and so a couple weeks ago they decorated their own hats. And so the lady was
Oh,
were to wear hats that they decorated, and the men were to wear bow ties. And so it was a whole derby party. And when I tell you, they so we invited another senior center um, that we've collaborated with before. And when I tell you, them people said it's a party, y'all better give us a party. It was a whole day party. They partied.
good.
We danced. I laughed. It was just we had a ball. We had a ball. We had a ball.
Good.
So yeah. Well, good morning, everybody. Let's see. Hey, Miss Crafty Coder, how are you doing? Man, we're gonna have to get you in the room. I just in my spirit, I feel we're gonna have to get you in the room.
Definitely.
uh, we're gonna have to get you in the room. Yeah, because yeah, we just gonna have to get you in the room. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Saturday morning tea, um, where we discuss health information, news, education, certification tips, entrepreneurship, the weather, sports, dance, you name it, we will discuss it. I am Clarice Warner. I'm the girl with the pearls, the founder and education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key, located here in beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio. But first, let me ask you, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? I mean, really, for real, for real. For real, for real. Do you know? Well, before I introduce my co host, let me share with you the um, 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder free email course information. All right, all right.
Are you interested in medical coding but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
All right. See, you caught me again. If you are in Clubhouse, feel free to click the link. If you are interested in getting more information about the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder information. Again, it's free 99. It's just a free email course that provides some information um, on those steps and tips. Also, if you are joining us via YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, you can check out the video description for the link. I know it's a lot of stuff in that description box, but I promise you it's down there. Just scroll, just scroll. So joining joining me today is my co-host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. You better put some respect on my name, the coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I have been an LPN for 3 decades.
Woo.
And during the pandemic, I transitioned into the wonderful world of HIM. Well, actually, I created a company during the pandemic. I transitioned into HIM in 2014. And during the pandemic, I created a company where I help nurses and other people with clinical experience transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
Cool. And how has that been working for you, sir?
It's been coming along. I, I don't, nurses are a little fickle bunch, so that's all I can say.
Ah, they are, but again, you are providing such a wonderful service and getting them to understand the transition from doing the hands-on clinical patient-facing work to the behind-the-scenes work that happens with health information and coding. And so I think that's a godsend. And CDI, because of course all of that blends in together. So you're a gem, and they're lucky to have you, because you have feet in both worlds, and so you can commiserate if you need to, but also help them understand the challenges that they may face when transitioning over to health information. So again, they're lucky to have you. Thank you for serving in this manner. It's wonderful.
Sometimes it feels like I'm herding cats. I think it's so funny because at least once a week in our little chat, I hear somebody mention quirky guidelines. It's just that phrase, that phrase and compassionate sacrifice from these doctors. That gets me through.
I like these folks. Like, you gotta have some guidance. Yeah. You gotta have some guidance. Hey, Vicky, welcome. So good morning, everyone. Welcome. You gotta have some guidance. I don't understand why.
Everything has structure.
It has, and if it doesn't, it's, to me, something wrong. It's a problem.
Right.
It's a problem. And to me, those guidelines and that structure is protective, because it allows you to know what you can and cannot do, and where you can and cannot go. And I just believe in that. So I don't know. I guess everybody don't necessarily feel the way we feel. They feel it
clearly.
But it's really there to help. I think it's really there to help. Okay, let's see. Do we have? I think I got a church announcement. Church announcements. So, I wanted to say, well, if there's anybody who has just joined us, let me just remind you that today we are asking the question, why health information? And I'll give you a little background on that when we get to that part of the day. And then we're also talking about a proposed social determinants of health win. So I'm excited for that. But as far as church announcements, I ran into this article, I think last week, about how auditing is different from coding. And we've talked a lot about how our profession, specifically coders in general, medical coders in general, it's transitioning. I feel like it's been transitioning for years, though. years. And you have to remain in front of it versus chasing behind it. And so we've talked about all different types of avenues and paths that you can take that medical coding skill that you have and put it to wonderful use in various facets of health information or healthcare in general. I mean, there's a lot of things going on that require accurate coding and the information on the appropriateness of the codes that we use. And so there's probably things that we haven't even thought about that would require the medical coding skill. So in this particular article, wait, let me bring this up, from Littman Education by Catherine DeVault. I think that's her. Catherine DeVault is her name. She just kind of reinforces some of the skills necessary and how that auditing is different from coding. And for those of you who may be thinking about a career in auditing, um, giving you some real life understanding of those differences. So, with coding, you need to have an appreciation of course, medical terminology and anatomy and some physiology as well. You need to understand how to review the health record. And I think primarily she was focusing more or less on inpatient coding when she wrote this article, but a lot of it still applies to the professional side and outpatient coding as well. You also need to understand what are and how to apply coding guidelines and coding clinics and CPT assistants and all of the things that provide additional guidance as it relates to your coding. When you're, assigning the diagnosis and the procedure codes. And then also understanding the reimbursement methodologies, DRGs and APCs and all of the things that make up or are part of that whole revenue cycle and why you do what you do. But with auditing, it's a little more. So not only do you need all of the things that a coder would need and to be able to do all of the things that a coder would do, but you got to do it kind of in addition to. So in an audit, the auditor actually has to review the record coded by the auditor. So not only does the auditor also have to code that record, but then they have to kind of evaluate what the coder did and compare it to what the auditor did, and then determine, what that process looked like, and then be able to provide correction if necessary, or provide additional education, or provide what other recommendations. Things may be added, things may need to be changed, things may be all of those things. And so it's more than, so you're actually kind of like coding it twice. And then trying to re-engineer how the coder got to what they got in order to be able to assist them in making those corrections if need be. So it's a lot. So auditors really, 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 really need to know about coding guidelines and coding guidance. They need to have a firm foundation in disease processes and identification of clinical indicators. They need to be able to speak to the coder and provide the recommendations appropriately, and then provide the reason why these recommendations were made, and then provide the references. And so it's a lot of researching. And Mr. Jesse, we talked about this last week. So it's a lot of additional research and additional work that comes behind when you're doing auditing. Oftentimes you have audits that are done for specific reasons. You can have audits that kind of are focused on the quality of a coder's work. You can have audits that are focused on compliance or DRG accuracy and all of those things. And so then there's also this opportunity for advanced coder education. So again, the auditing process has a lot of other pieces to it. And one of the things I think we talked about as well was some of the soft skills that come with auditing. And that's not necessarily part of this article, but I think it should be said. You have to be firm in your knowledge. You have to know what you know, and be able to clearly and concisely communicate that to someone, in a manner in which for them to receive it. And that's usually the other part. While you're auditing, oftentimes, there's sometimes you may just be auditing coders. You may be auditing providers as well. And having the assertiveness, if you will, to have those conversations with the auditors, I think, or I'm sorry, with the providers, because sometimes auditors, they get in their feelings and they think, that this provider is the be all end all and to be reverenced and revered, and they're unapproachable, and you can't say this and you can't do this. And it's like, no, you're providing a service, you're helping them, and you have to be able to, I like to say, scan the room, get an understanding of what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with, and then be able to have the conversation that hopefully everybody walks away with a great understanding and a relationship on making either the documentation or making whatever it is that you have audited, making everything better. So, Mr. Jesse, what are your thoughts on that? I don't know if you got an opportunity to see that.
I did.
That article.
And I agree, because I've audited for like 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and it is exactly how you described. And I found the hardest part is not even the coding; it's the feedback.
You got to be prepared.
Because people, they just want to do what they want to do, and they get in their feelings. Ego plays a part. So
Yes. And they'll try you and test you. Yeah. Like, ma'am and sir, I didn't spend all this time trying to give you this information. I mean, it's not a joke. It says it right here, black and white.
Yeah. And I'm of the point now. Look, can I just? I was tired. And if you want to send that mess out there and let CMS review a new one, or have to write a very big check, have at it.
Yes, that's true. I mean, it's at some point you would hope that someone has had the conversation that, especially with auditors, and they always are given kind of a bad rap, if you will, like and especially on the compliance side. Let me just, particularly auditors on the compliance side, because it's always looked at as they're policing everybody and everything. And it's not necessarily that they're the police and they're out to get you and all of those things. Which, I feel like, why even label folks that way? They need to look at it as the resource that it is. They're there to help you. They're there to buffer you from what is really out there and those who are out there to quote unquote try to get you. I mean, we're really just trying to prepare folks, both on our coders and folks in health information, as well as our providers, on what's appropriate and how to keep the money that you're trying to get. You work hard for the money. I feel like Donna Summers, you work hard. It was my turn to come in with a song, huh? And so you want to keep the money. Yes, great to get it, but you got to make sure you get to keep it. And we talk about that all the time. And the thing is, all of the information is out there. It's not like it's held secret, locked away, behind closed doors in vaults. It's out there. And, there's several people who are there to assist and provide you with that information. I'll never forget, I had this provider, and, providers can be, you talk about coders and their feelings. Providers can be on one. Most of them are like, they understand the purpose, the reason why you have to do these reviews. You know, you check in their documentation. You're there to assist. You're there to, but others, they like, I don't want any part of this at all. I don't even know why you're making me go through this exercise. This is a waste of my time. I could be doing this, that, and the third. I could be seeing patients, and rightfully so, you could. But you can also be keeping the money that you're billing to see those patients. And we're trying to make sure that that happens. But anyway, so you know me, like I said, I always assess the room, assess my surroundings. Like, let me see, let me look for the X's. Let me just make sure I got an understanding. And so one of she had a higher position. She was over the physician. She was just over the clinical piece with the physicians in this organization. And so she had already had a conversation with me, like, do you want me to come? And I was like, do I need you to come? Like, like, y'all set me up for the okie doke. What's what? And I said, no, I got it. And she said, yeah, this particular provider, she has been known to, not be agreeable and have, sent some folks away in tears and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, really? And I said, okay, well, all of this was good to know. I'm glad I was able to get this information before meeting with her. And so I said, no, I think I'm good, but keep your phone just in case, because the wrong one might hit me and I may pop off as well. And we need to keep this professional. So I go in and she was a little tense at first and I don't even know why we had to do this and that and the third and blah, 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 blah. And, I had the report. And so she threw the report across the room. And I just sat back like, oh, this is about to be a whole good time right here. So I'm like, before I wouldn't say another word. I just let her get all of that off. She got all of her feelings and all, but I'm paying attention and I'm listening because I'm really trying to hear her pain points. Like, well, what really is the issue? Because there is an underlying issue behind all of this, all of the theatrics that you're providing me today. Because it was, it was the end of the day. It was after 5. I'm tired. I'm ready to go home. I'm sure she's ready to go home. Ma'am. So anyway, she goes through all of that. And finally, I said, well, let me explain this to you. I explained it as clean and as plain as I possibly could. Again, you work hard, right? You see all these patients, you have this, and at the time, I don't think they were employed. I don't believe the providers were employed with this organization at the time. Or they were just, I think it was half and half. It was a hybrid thing, and they were in the process of getting everybody employed. And so I was explaining to her, because she's in her own practice, the work that you do is, I talked about the work that she did. I talked about how valuable she was, this, that, and the third. I went through, and so it's important for you to tell the story of your patient. I went through the whole rigmarole. And my purpose for being here is to show you that your documentation is not meeting those levels, period. So let's find a way on getting you to, because, she was like, I've never failed an exam. I've always had great papers. And, she went through school. I mean, she went through the whole rigmarole. And I was like, so let's get you back to the quality that you had when you were getting those A's on exams and getting those 100% on your paper. Can we do that? And let me show you why we need to do that. And so she, her shoulders relaxed a little bit and we pulled out the papers. I was like, because I came with examples like, ma'am, this is what you wrote. What does this even say? What does this even mean? Help me understand how this ties anyway to this, so we walking through case by, which was a great exercise for her because she had never had that. And so she never understood that we were really there as a resource. An hour and maybe an hour and a half later, I was her best friend, to the point where months later, she was continuing to call me. Clarice, you got a couple of minutes. Can we talk about XYZ? Or I'm in the process of doing this. Should I do it this way? Is my document? I mean, we were like, I was on speed dial with her at that point. And again, it's the way in which you approach the situation. Because it could have really, really went bad. Because I could have been like, man, you throwing papers? This is what we doing? You know what? I'm out. Forget you and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But no, you have a job to do. You have to let them get whatever it is they need to get out. Ma'am, get it out so that I can do my job, and then I can go away and you can go away. But then again, we end up having the most wonderful relationship while she was with the organization. And it's crazy that you have to go through that. But that's again part of the auditor's world. And it's part of that soft skill is to be able to communicate and provide that quote unquote customer service, if you will, to the person that you're providing that feedback to.
You know, can I tell you the whole time you were telling that story? See, I have too much testosterone. And I think that's the problem, because I think really and truly, like that situation encapsulates half of what's wrong with the medical industry, period. People feel as though they have to tolerate doctors' aberrant behavior.
Mm-hmm. And they have it.
Like a 6-year-old, and I got to be the adult in the room?
Exactly.
No.
And so I can only imagine that this would have been a different story for my friend over here.
Oh my God. I mean, we would have still been friends. Because I would have gathered this thing. And then we'd have been like, then she came around. Because I had it happen.
Oh,
we're
goodness.
not doing that. No, we're not. I don't have blonde hair and a uterus. I'm not her.
I love it. Let me drink my tea because I know it was coming. I love it. Oh my goodness. Let's see. The crafty coder said, it's your demeanor with the providers. They already feel above. I just come in and ask, well, what is your interpretation of this denial and guidelines, Dr. Sir? Right. Because clearly you know it. I don't even know why I'm here. You already know. So tell me why. She also said, I just cackled at throwing the report. Classic. I mean, literally threw it across the room to the point where she had to go pick it up. Because I was like, can you get that so we can kind of run through this and I can show you? Y'all, because what was, ma'am? She said, love it, Clarice Winnie. Hey, Shonda, welcome. Building relationships. I tell them we're not the enemy. We don't make the rules, but are paid to enforce them. Exactly. Girl. Now, you know, everybody should have had a sip of tea right then and there. Blonde hair and uterus. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, that was just a more longer church announcement than I anticipated, but that was just a little thing to think about if you're transitioning from auditing to transitioning to auditing from coding. Just make sure that you are well aware of what is going on. Say, Clarice, you're the provider whisperer. I try to be. Like, calm down. Let's get this done. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the proposed social determinant of health win that we got. So hopefully, maybe you know, or maybe you don't know, but the fiscal year 2024 hospital inpatient prospective payment system proposed rule has been released. It was released last month, April 10th. And there were a lot of stuff going on, but there were a few gems. I know one of the things that folks have been up in arms, and I'll probably put together a video around that, is the Two Midnight Rule. There's still questions and concerns about graduate medical education. There's a whole bunch of stuff. But one of the things that came out was what's happening around the social determinants of health and how to improve patient safety while promoting health equity. And so, sure, you're probably aware there's a whole Biden-Harris administrative push to advance health equity and to support underserved communities. And one of the ways that they wanted to do that was to kind of look at try to get the data to understand like the baseline of what's happening. And they've been trying to do that almost unsuccessfully using these social determinants of health. And they've had social determinants of health codes for years, and folks, just for whatever reason, just refuses to use them. One of the reasons I had heard was because we don't get paid for them. It's we're adding extra codes for what? They're not part of what we do. It's not part of our reimbursement. You know, we are only putting the codes on the claim that tie directly to reimbursement. And so what they are proposing in this particular IPPS is that they will have the ability to be paid, if you will, for recognizing at least one social determinant of health. And so they recently have added or proposing to add additional codes around homelessness. And so homelessness, I guess, will be the tester code, if you will. And so acute care hospitals that successfully participate in the hospital inpatient quality reporting program and are meaningful electronic health record users will get a proposed increase in operating payment rates if they are using the if they're coding for this additional social determinant of health for homelessness. Again, it's they want to accurately pay hospitals and recognize for the first time that homelessness also impacts resource utilization. So because they know that there are different things, and this unfortunately they had, and this is particularly tied to hospitals for now. There may be something coming out with the outpatient perspective payment system as well, but for now we just got the inpatient. Letting them know that, you know, while hospitals provide the care to the underserved population, this also kind of brings attention to the resources that are required, which we've known for years, but I guess it just takes for them to formally put it into practice and throw some money at it for folks to recognize that this will help hopefully deliver more quality and equitable and safer healthcare for everyone. So that was one of the proposed wins. Now you still have time to weigh in on it because, you know, there's always that 60-day comment period. If you had something to say regarding this particular proposed rule. Again, I think it's, I have mixed feelings. I'm glad that this is something that they're finally doing. I hate that it takes throwing some money at it to do it, I guess, or, you know, to force them. They should already be part of the quality measures because I think they're going to also add this as one of the quality measures or add some additional social determinant of health items in the quality measure. So it should already been part of that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's actually long overdue
Mm-hmm.
because weekly I see cases where social determinants of health is the reason why the person is in the hospital. I code underdosing and non-compliance due to financial reasons all the time, and it's actually is getting worse
Yeah.
because I see it more, even from last year to now, and people have no it is the amount of, like you said, the amount of resources that these people have to receive in order to just get to baseline to be discharged. I mean, you have people who have, like I just had a case where the person was just had stents in their left leg, and the stent had reached the nose, so they clotted, and they had already had an amputation, but another toe was starting to become, discolored.
Mm.
So it's just, and it's with this non-compliance with it's just it's tough to read because you know that this person needs resources and services away from the hospital to keep them out of the hospital. Because
Right.
if not, they're going to be right back in a matter of probably a month or so.
Right.
So if you have to incentivize, and that to happen, then I think that, but I think what would really help it is because I read somewhere where they were talking about they were trying to make homelessness and, or what did they say, unsheltered?
They said
Um,
homelessness
okay.
or shelter and unsheltered. I mean, they gave all the specific examples, but it's gonna go from it's gonna be a complication or comorbidity.
That's where the difference will come because I know people chase CCs and MCCs like Peter chases after her. So that'll definitely do something.
Yeah. And I mean, hopefully we will, based on this information, begin to see an uptick in the reporting of social determinants of health on all sides because it is important and it helps with, I think on the provider professional side, I think they kind of understand that as it is rolled into, their evaluation and management coding because it is actually part of the evaluation and management leveling, um, mentioning or having documentation related to social determinants of health. So they have already kind of padded that piece in there for that, but doesn't necessarily state that, the diagnoses need to be there. And I think this really, 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 and it helps with gathering the information about the level of patients that are being served. I mean, because you don't necessarily get that data. And the only, we know that the codes that we use, it's bigger than just reimbursement. It's also about the data and understanding, what is happening, which is part of why we do what we do as well. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you would thought this is just all about reimbursement, but it's bigger than just that. And so hopefully, to your point, this provides folks an opportunity, even though they are incentivized, but it provides an opportunity for them to go ahead and to use these codes. So I was
Because
excited about that.
because more and more people are falling through the ever thinning social safety nets.
Yeah,
They really, really are.
you're right.
And something needs to be done because if not, it's going to be an epidemic.
You're
Because
right.
I see it. I see people who are discharged. I mean, I have not even closed out cases, and people are readmitted.
Mm.
Like it's days. It's not even weeks. It's days. So
And I
that's
read
what I
somewhere
think.
recently too about, the increase in people hitting the emergency rooms and urgent care is like is serious out here in these streets. And
Mhm.
you know, it's like and I think we've talked about this before. It's like it just feels like this bubble is about to burst. like it's about to, we're stretching it, and it's, the walls are thinner and thinner, and it's just about to pop at any moment. And there's just going to be, it just feels like if this stuff is not brought under control, on all levels, it's like everybody got a hand in it, then it's just going to be a mess. And then the work that it's going to take to try to put it back together, or put something back together, because it shouldn't be what it was. But the work that it's going to take, I don't even know if we're at the point where we will even be ready for it. And that's scary. That's really, really scary.
Because there's not enough resources. You have
Right.
hospitals closing, so that limits access.
Yep.
So less beds is never a good thing.
I mean, and what we saw during COVID should really have been a clear indicator of what chaos could potentially look like in healthcare. I don't know. It's like, ooh.
But I don't. That wasn't. Was that the same article? No, that was. No, I'll wait till you get the other article about the rural access hospital.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I think that is great that they'll let medical graduates work, because you have to, they're closing too often. I mean, rural access hospitals have been closing. I think that's the largest percentage of hospital closure.
Mm-hmm.
So when you cannot limit access to services, especially medical services in some of these places, because once again it goes to a cost. People, you know how much it costs to transport somebody or to airlift somebody from one facility to another?
Right.
It's
right.
not. It's not an Uber fee. People really don't think about how much money it costs on the back end.
Right.
They really, really don't. And I think that it is great because it can bring people to a lot of underserved rural areas where there's a lot of minorities already.
Mm-hmm.
And it just compounds all the other issues that minorities face in healthcare. So then you're going to limit access on top of it. So I think that is great. I think that it's a way to bring people to those areas, because you have a lot of residents, a lot of medical graduates, fight and compete for residencies and placement. So this would also open up the pool.
Yes.
And you'll have people who, if they can go back somewhere and, because not everybody wants to be in a big city. Some people do want to, have farms and have forests and still be a doctor.
Right.
They do. So
right.
Why not make it easy for them?
Right.
We say we need these professionals. So send them where the need is, especially if they're willing to go.
I agree.
I think that's great.
I agree. And so a little history on that. Back in 2021, there was the Consolidated Appropriations Act, and it created a new Medicare provider type, which is REH, which is the Rural Emergency Hospitals. Well, with this proposed IPPS rule, it is changing to allow graduate medical education payments for training in the rural emergency hospitals, is what Mr. Jesse was bringing up. And so again, there's a lot of things going on. This will allow hopefully additional access, because there's so many rural hospitals closing. And so hopefully the rural hospitals have changed over to that REH type. And if they have, then these changes would allow them to train in those rural areas in using those rural hospitals as training grounds and training sites for Medicare graduate medical education payment purposes.
And also it increases the hospital's reimbursement.
That's right.
Medical graduates.
That's right.
So I really think that's a win-win.
I do too. I agree. It is a win-win for all. Okay, let's see. Am I missing anything? Ma'am, she said, I want a farm. So let me just share this. Because, I do grow a garden. I didn't grow it. Whatever year we had them cicadas, there was no way I was going outside. Nobody was doing that. So I didn't do it that year. And then I think something happened last year, but I'm back at it again. And so I have my plants and whatever. So it's not a farm, but it's we ain't got that far. But but I do grow vegetables and fruits. And so I'm excited about that. And then I've been watching, see, I'm about to give a plug to a TV show. I've been watching a show called Homegrown. It's absolutely the Crafty Coder. You need to watch that. It is absolutely heavenly. It's this lady named Jamelia. I can't think of her last name. She lives in Atlanta, and she has a whole farm, and she teaches people how to farm in Atlanta. And I'm not talking about, like, she said how many acres she has that she farms, but these folks got chickens and goats. The crazy part is, like, when she needs to clear land or whatever, they just send goats and sheep, and they say, y'all go eat all this stuff. So instead of like bulldozing stuff, they just have them go in and naturally just eat up everything for a couple of days. And I'm just amazed by that. But then people want goats and chickens and horses and all of the things in their backyard. I think it's cute. So check that out.
That's actually better for the soil, because the goats just eat the surface.
Yes.
But then they have this other not only Texas, it's almost nationwide, and they have these wild boars and wild hogs.
Mm-hmm.
They do damage because they go under the ground, so they uproot everything, so nothing grows.
Oh.
After they call it rooting. But can I tell you, Crafty Coder, God bless you, I want no parts of a farm. My mother's mother had a farm. She raised pigs. I've seen enough.
Not I've seen enough. She said yes. Here in Florida, we get a homestead credit. Oh, for the animals on the land. Well, maybe they got something like that over in Georgia. Because when I tell you, everybody on these episodes want some kind of animals. Now, I'm cool on the animals. I think I don't think I'm. But I'm all about the produce, about the fruits and vegetables. Animals, I don't know. Maybe I'll come visit. But some of them were real cute. Like, I was just amazed. I'm like, okay, here we go. But they loved it.
One last, did you hear about this? Since you were talking about fruits, did you hear that there is a new process that they can spray organic vegetables, organic fruits and vegetables with this preservative? I'm like, doesn't that defeat the purpose
of being organic?
Of organic?
Yes. What? See,
and you know who's behind it.
You are.
I have to send you the articles. I'm like, what?
Listen to her. Goats for me, they are like little dogs. Well, they loved them. They had some little baby goats, and they was like rubbing on them and had them in their lap and stroking. I said, bless everybody's heart. I don't know. Right. I don't understand. See, that's why I'm out here trying to grow meats, because I don't want another ear. I don't want. That makes me nervous. I don't understand why. It's enough out here. Yeah. And then I folks will be telling me about all the seedless fruit opportunities. I was like, y'all know that's modified. That's not good. You need seeds. You need seeds.
Every species, whether it's fruits or vegetables, they regenerate some way, shape, or form. And it's not in a petri dish.
Like, oh, Lord. Okay, so then our last topic. So let me give you the background behind this. So I was at an AHIMA meeting the other day, and one of the questions, and we spent a lot of time talking about, it was an advocacy meeting, and we talked about this particular question. And so the question was posed: what brought you to the health information profession, and why are you currently staying? And I thought, that was quite interesting. And let me pose that to the folks over on the T. And so some of the comments from the meeting, a lot of folks, I think we mutually, most folks, because and a lot of them we date ourselves. We go way, way back. A lot of them went way back before electronic paper, they had cards, microfiche, all of the things. So they, it's some of them old school gatekeepers or something like you like to call them. But most of them kind of talked about how they stumbled into the profession. Like they didn't necessarily realize that a whole profession existed in healthcare that didn't require direct patient contact. That there was no, clinical per se, because we still learn clinical processes and we still learn all of those things, but we didn't necessarily have to apply them on a patient. I'll put it that way. And so really just the business of healthcare, no one understood or thought about or knew, oh my God, this was an option way back when. Now there's more information has come out over the years, but, still slow. As we've talked about, there's really not a whole bunch of advertising related to it, but that's how a lot of us got into it. And, why they stayed was more for the advocacy piece, helping to promote the profession, really helping helping patients. There were a lot of folks that talked about, just the work that we do, believe it or not. We do help patients in our work. And while it's not, caring for them in the traditional healthcare kind of way, we care to make sure that their information is protected. We care for them to make sure that with their coding and even billing, making sure that that's accurate and those things are appropriate for reimbursement purposes, and that they're not hit with something that's just off the charts. Because, I don't think folks understand that, oh yeah, let me throw this on here so we can get X amount of money. Well, in a lot of cases with insurance, there's a copay that may be 20% of this huge charge that you're about to bill this patient that may or may not necessarily be required, or will document it. So those are some of the things. So I just wanted to, she said golden gatekeepers. I couldn't resist, but because I knew as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, he would love this. He would love this. So again, I just wanted to post it out there. Like, what brought you to the health information profession, and why are you currently staying? Did you want to weigh in on that, Mr. Jeff?
Oh, sure. I think the large percentage of people like myself stumble into it because it was not like I wanted to try it because like I had a nurse friend who was always talking about HEDIS. So when I got my first job, like it wasn't really my intention to stay in it. I really was only doing it for some money because I really wanted to. I was in a whole nother industry. I was like, well, I'm going to stack me some money.
Sir, which industry at the time? Because what industry have you not been in? I'm messing with you. Go ahead.
I was actually a makeup artist in New York City, and I was trying to get agency representation.
Okay.
And you need money for like a real portfolio and
all the things.
You gotta have all the things. You gotta be right.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do it for that. Then I saw this post that they were creating this new department for their auditors for a travel position. I was like, wow. To be honest, that's why I stayed, because it was not my intention. And then once I got into it, I started, seeing, wow, this is a whole different side from what I'm used to from being clinical. And in my opinion, it's actually bigger and just as, if not more so, impactful. Because it's a whole lot of people on the back end. Whole lot of people. And everybody plays a role. And just like you said, everybody in the process, whether it's clinical or non-clinical, protects the patient.
That's right.
And has the patient's best interest at heart. This is why we code the way we code. This is why medical records just doesn't release information to any and everybody. So it's so much opportunity, and that's why I stay, because of the opportunity. And I would not have, if I had to stay in it, I would have never gotten to this point where I'm a registered trademark entity. So
Oh, look at you. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I was the same way. I stumbled into the profession. I was I wanted to get into healthcare because at the time, and this is way, way back in the day, it was kind of a stable industry. It was always thought that this was, people always got to go to the hospital. Somebody always gonna get sick, so it was a stable industry, but I didn't want to deal with well, initially I didn't want direct patient care. At one point I wanted to be a pediatrician. So um, that's a whole other story. But I said, oh, there's a whole business of healthcare. And it was like, yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, let me figure this out. But then I loved anatomy and physiology, and I loved all of that part. So I began to have a love of both medicine and as a little bitty child, I used to tell people I was going to be an attorney. Um, and so I always had an affinity for law too. And so this just for the advocacy and the policy work and compliance and all of that just fills my heart with joy because it checks all of my boxes. Like, yes, this is all of the things. And then, I've always thought about, I'm not interested in just a job. And I try to impress upon people, this is a career. And this is, coming up and growing up in the hood, because I'm a hood girl. This was a way to get out. This was a way to get out the hood. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all today. So this was a way to get out. Like, I don't see, folks advancing in this way out of this situation, and get a career, find a career, something that you love, something that you want to do, to kind of jump over those hurdles. And so this afforded me the opportunity to do that. And so I stay because I still feel passionate that this is an opportunity for those who may not know. This still is an opportunity to jump that hurdle and come on out of that, whatever that is, and get on this side to broaden and build the career. And I'm so fascinated that there's so many additional paths, because there were only a few paths when we started this. Well, when I started this thing, I don't know about you. When I started this thing, because we go back some decades, so there's only a few paths, but now it is so many paths. Even for Mr. Jesse, because he gonna walk every path they got. He loves it. He gonna make sure he touches them all. And so you can find that niche, you can find that thing that ignites your passion in this career. And again, it's not just in I want to always impress upon folks, it's just not about a job. It really is a career. So that is part of the reason why I stay, is to see the people come in, to help them come in. Even like with the medical coding classes, like I feel like that's your start. Now you may get there and be like, you know what, this is my jam, I'm staying here, I'm whatever. But I feel like just building that foundation, because wherever you go, if you get those skills, and I say, let me give you the skills to pay the bills. If you get those skills, there's always an opportunity to come back. You could be doing something totally different, but you know what? I might need a couple $1,000s this month. Let me go on over here and get this little contract real quick and do some contract work, because I have the skills to do that. And this affords you the opportunity to do that. So I that's why I say, is to spread the word to the masses about our profession.
I just want to piggyback, because when you mentioned law, I could easily see you being an attorney. And what made me laugh is when you talked about the hood, because can I tell you, there is this attorney in Michigan I follow, and her TikTok handle is Hood Rat to Harvard.
I
And when I tell you, this man gets on that TikTok and lets it fly.
Oh, I'll have to find her. I will have to find her. Yes.
Who ranked the number 2 horror?
Okay. Okay. I will have to find her.
A gem. Okay.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I also like the crafty coders.
Yeah, I'm about to get her. Let's see. She says, I thought I wanted to be an MA in the doctor's office until I learned about that they had to practice sticks on me. Nope. What else we got? Then I did my 3 years and it's been magic the last 10 years. And now I can take jobs I want to do and not have to do. And she also agrees career, not job. I was a single parent of 3, and this profession allowed me to give them so many great experiences. Yes, absolutely. I do concur with that. I mean, at one point I was a married single parent. Let that sink in for 5 minutes. But it gave me the same opportunity for my children as well. And like I said, it's the career that keeps on giving. I feel like it. If you let it, it's the career that keeps on giving. Yeah.
Because it's what it really is. I think you get out of it what you put into it. You really, really do.
You do. And and it's interesting. I mean, there's never a dull moment. It's never a dull. And we've talked about this. You got gatekeepers. You got passive aggressive folks. You got all of those things. Coach, you got it all. Trust and believe, like in most professions. But you learn to overcome those things. And then again, a lot of us have felt like we've been in the trenches long enough that we can now begin to provide opportunities so that you don't have to go through some of that same foolishness. And so, we're on the other side of it now, learning, okay, this is how these opportunities present themselves. And this is how, we can begin to put together partnerships and organizations that will allow us to hire and support each other. So we coming along slowly but surely. And there's some that may be, way ahead, and hopefully, folks will trickle down and get in the same vein that we can learn and do this together. But we're in those processes. We're doing that.
Absolutely. And the crafty coder has given me another phrase, because the golden gatekeeper is great. That is priceless. Remember that, because Peggy and them are special.
Oh God. I'm writing this down. And he said, Peggy, sir. So I got my I got my CPCI to pour back into the next generation, because I would love to introduce to high schoolers one day. I agree, but you know what? I think it goes younger than high schoolers. I think you got to tap into them in middle school or 5th, 6th grade, because I agree that this is part of STEM. I believe that what we do is part of STEM, and so introducing it earlier helps kind of grow that seed in our younger people, so that they understand and know that here's another opportunity, if they choose. Yeah. So I think younger. Yeah. Okay. She's like, yeah, gotcha. It makes sense. So you get them younger, so they know that this exists, and talk to them and say, I know, and it used to drive me crazy, and it sometimes still do. My pastor used to always ask kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And at some point they would say, all the normal, regular teacher, doctor, lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, stop asking them kids that, because they may not know, because it may not exist yet. What happens if it doesn't exist yet? Then what do you do?
Because I'm sure if we were to, the people who transitioned years ago, they could never foresee a day when you could work from home.
Never.
Because it wasn't possible. We didn't even have the infrastructure to do it.
That's right. That's right. And all of these things. So, yep. What'd she say? Right. You don't have to be a doctor, but you can send out doctor bills. Exactly. Exactly. I love it. I love it. So yeah, I posted the question in the chat. So feel free to, comment and, if you are in the profession and answer the question, what brought you to the health information profession and why are you currently staying? I will be interested to know and see all the comments as well. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So this has been great, great. Yeah, she said great tea was spilled today. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for joining us as usual. She always jumps in and is a faithful listener. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. So thank you all again for joining the Saturday morning tea. Again, was the tea spilled? Was the tea spilled? Even if it was just for the Golden Gatekeepers.
Absolutely.
And if this information was valuable for you, help us to share this message with others by liking the video, sharing the video, and of course, subscribing to the channel, Professional Reimbursement Network. You can also check out the Coding Nurse YouTube channel. And remember to check out his content as well as subscribe to that channel as well. And last but certainly not least, for the Clubhouse folks, y'all got to get into the house, I guess. Everything has changed over there. So they got to get into the house to be part of to get the information and notified of our live broadcast. And, I'm trying to, because we started out over there and I'm trying to stay over there, but I don't know. It's a whole different world over there now. And
it's hard to find people. It used to be easy.
It used to be easy. It's now hard. It's more difficult to find folks. I guess you got to be in folks' house, even though I keep my stuff public so that people can come in and out, but I don't know if folks don't see. I don't know if they've changed like their algorithm. I have no idea what is going on in Clubhouse. And I do want to keep you because that's where we started. But yeah, I don't know where the folks are. But anyway, we are here and we will continue to be here. And we are here every Saturday morning or most Saturday mornings because I'm about to make announcements that I won't be here next. Well, I'm moving. I'm moving my daughter in Texas, so I won't be here. I can join. I can't do Clubhouse and this. So I can do this, but I can't do the other like we did before. So we can do it that way. But I'll let you know. And then the following week is graduation weekend. So I'll be in DC. Yes. Getting that piece of paper. So thank you. So I'll let you know about that one too. And how we're gonna do that. So again, thank you all for joining. This has been a great session. And remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, take care and have a great weekend.
Can we chat?
We can.